If you have a pet, you've definitely seen it. You're watching them sleep, and their paws start twitching, maybe a little whimper escapes, and you can't help but wonder, what is going on in there? What's happening inside that furry little head of theirs?
Yeah, that scene. It's so familiar, right? Those quiet moments when your buddy is just gone, off in some other world. Their paws are going, maybe there's a muffled bark, are they chasing squirrels, seeing off some imaginary mail carrier? It's something pretty much every pet owner experiences, and it always gets you thinking. And that curiosity, well, that's the big question we're tackling today. Are those little twitches and sounds just random biological noise, like a computer defragging its hard drive? Or is it something more? What are they actually seeing behind those closed eyes?
Okay, so let's get into it. When you try to answer that question, you kind of come to a fork in the road. On one side, you have the straight-up scientific explanation. It's just biological activity. The brain is sorting through the day's events. That's it. But on the other side, well, that's a much older, more mysterious idea. That maybe, just maybe, these dreams are actual messages, a link to something way beyond our normal understanding.
So let's start with what we can prove. Let's start with the science, because it's given us a pretty amazing look into the minds of sleeping animals.
It all really comes down to one thing you've definitely heard of: REM sleep. That stands for rapid eye movement. You know when you see your dog's paws kicking or their eyes darting around under their eyelids? That's it. That's REM sleep. It's the biological engine of the dream world.
So what's actually firing off in their brain? Well, get this. During REM, an animal's brain activity looks almost identical to when it's wide awake. Scientists think they're literally reliving their day, running after that ball, chasing that laser pointer, you name it. And this whole process is super important for locking in memories and learning. It's like the brain's own personal filing clerk, organizing everything from the day.
But, and this is a really big but, this is where the simple answers stop. Science can tell us how they dream, the mechanics of it, but it has a really tough time explaining what they're dreaming. Is it just a boring replay of fetching a stick, or are they experiencing rich, complex emotions, joy, fear, just like we do? The purely biological explanation kind of hits a wall right here, and that's what opens the door to a much bigger mystery. And to explore that mystery, we have to leave the lab and step into the living room. Because the stories from pet owners all over the world, well, they suggest there's a lot more going on than just brain chemistry. All around the world, you'll find an incredible number of stories from people who've seen their pets do things in their sleep that feel, well, way too specific to be random. These are moments that seem to have a real depth, a real meaning to them. And some of these accounts are absolutely wild. We're talking about people who say their pet reacted in their sleep to something that hadn't even happened yet, like a family member arriving when they were still miles down the road. Or even more profoundly, pets who seem to be dreaming of and interacting with another pet or a person who has passed away. So what do we do with that? Are these all just coincidences? Are we, as loving owners, just projecting our own hopes and emotions onto them? Or is it possible that all these stories aren't random at all, that they're part of a hidden pattern pointing to something that our current scientific instruments just aren't built to detect yet? You know, this whole debate is actually pretty new. If you look back through history, you'll find that for most of our time on this planet, pretty much everyone just assumed that animal dreams were meaningful. The idea that they aren't, that's the new theory. This timeline really shows you what a huge shift it's been. In ancient Egypt, animals like cats weren't just pets, they were seen as divine messengers, a living bridge between our world and the spirit world. In so many Native American traditions, animals were seen as wise spiritual guides, and their dreams were treated as important messages, warnings, guidance, you name it. It's really only in our modern scientific age that we've started to see these dreams as little more than a biological hard drive cleaning itself out. So for our ancestors, an animal's dream was never something to be ignored. It was listened to, it was respected, it was seen as a real, valid way that the universe was communicating. Now, this brings up a really cool possibility. What if both sides are kind of right? What if the biological process of dreaming is exactly what science says it is, but it's also a doorway to something much, much bigger? Some modern theories propose that there's an invisible web of consciousness out there, a network that connects all living things. And I know it might sound a bit far out, but it's an idea that could actually explain a lot of those animal behaviors that just don't seem to make sense in our normal cause and effect world. Just think about it for a second. We have tons of verified reports of animals sensing earthquakes and tsunamis hours before any instrument can. They feel our emotions, our sadness, our fear, sometimes even before we do.
They seem to sense dangers that are completely invisible to us. Maybe these aren't just tricks. Maybe they're signs that animals are tuned into a network that we aren't.
And here is the absolute key to that idea. Our human minds are, well, they're noisy, right? We have a constant inner monologue. We're planning, we're worrying, we're analyzing. But animals, they live much closer to pure instinct, to raw intuition. So it's totally possible that when they sleep, their minds become like a perfectly clear radio receiver, picking up signals from that hidden world, signals that our own mental static just completely drowns out.
So this is all really fascinating stuff to think about. But what does it mean for you and that little dreamer curled up on your floor? How can we start to pay closer attention to what they might be trying to tell us?
Well, here are a few simple things you can try. First, think about starting a dream journal for your pet. Seriously, when you see them doing something unusual in their sleep, just jot it down. See if it lines up with anything that happens later. Second, get to know their sleep rhythms, when they go into that deep, twitchy REM sleep. And finally, and this might be the most important one, trust your own gut feeling. Pay attention to their energy when they wake up. Your own bond with them is an incredibly powerful tool for understanding. In the end, maybe the real truth isn't on one side or the other. Maybe the answer to what our pets are dreaming about isn't an either-or question. Perhaps it's right there in that beautiful, messy space between what science can measure and what our hearts just know is true.
The next time you see your pet twitching away in their sleep, what are you going to see? A simple biological process or a secret message from a hidden world? So I'll leave you with that. What do you believe?